Are we taping this?
We are on.
Okay.
I think anyway. There's
All right, so I'm just going to, the
Sure.
secretary's report. We got to go back 2 months. Anybody remember it?
I do have the notes, but
Yeah.
since there was none last time,
Yeah, well, I read it. I read everything at home, so I'm good.
I could cover. I was planning on covering highlights in the librarian's report. I don't
Okay,
know.
let's do it that way then, okay?
Yeah.
Well, we could just table this until sometime when we can get on the screen and look at stuff.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll table the secretary's report. The treasurer's report, is there anything unusual?
Not really. We are 7/12 of the way through the year, 7 months out of 12, which is 58%. You can't really
Okay.
split the budget up like that. The
Right.
budget is at 63%, but given where the library is with books being very high, high percentage spent, and utilities, which is a huge cost, though relatively low percentage spent, I think we're doing fine. What is going to hurt us this year are part-timer expenditures to make up for the full-time circulation person that's out.
Is she still out? Yeah. Anybody hear how she's doing?
She's continuing to recover and back on the road, like firmly on the road to health, but it will
Good.
not be an easy road or a quick road, and there will be
This
rehab.
was a
and
bigger fall than I imagined.
Not sure what level of what percentage of duty she's going to be able to get back into. At
Right.
first it'll be light duty and see how it goes.
Okay, so that's
Apparently
on
the
time.
arm is okay. It was a very high break, and there's also a concussion issue, which I guess really messed her up.
Wow.
Okay. So I'm sorry, that was an aside.
No,
So
yeah,
the
that's
part-time budget is up to cover hours.
Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
it's not. It doesn't look crazy right now. I think it's
Mhm.
at 62% or something. It's not terrible.
But you can explain it.
Yeah, there's very
You
little
have
that
to explain it.
we can really
'cause
do about it.
She must be on some type of disability.
She's still using sick and vacation.
Okay, so then I would make sure you explain them.
Yeah, they're
Yes.
well
Yeah.
aware.
Yeah.
In the expenditures, there's some. I don't want to call them anomalies, but they're kind of one-shot deals. Equipment maintenance and repair went over. Most of that was just charged to deferred maintenance. The Wi-Fi points that I will have in here. I will have one more installed in here or around here to get some good Wi-Fi right in here. It is funny that the only place in the library that really is terrible is in the boardroom. And we also paid for a new firewall port. I guess it was going to be a capital expenditure of about $12,000, but they made it a port instead for $800, which came out of my budget, and that's fine. It's $6 1/2 of another for us. It's easier for the town Board of Ed IT guys to maintain it and do any kind of children's filtering that is necessary. The wireless access network points also hook right into the CEN, a very fast connection, as opposed to that old cable network. That is now, it still exists, but it's dismantled. It's what you would get, it's less than what you would get in your home. Costs like that the costs of these various bits and pieces of equipment may move around between equipment maintenance and repair or machinery and equipment. Most of the stuff in machinery and equipment went originally about a year ago when I constructed the budget for printers and cartridges and continuing costs, but instead I went with a cheaper option, a less expensive option for leased copiers that include that stuff. So for the exorbitant sum of $191 a month, we get all the printing we can handle. If we go over X, we have to pay, but to get to that point, we would have to be printing a lot of stuff. On the revenue side, fines are on target. Next, I'll get into the budget, but everything is basically on target. For revenues, the bottom line is at the moment of January 31st, the town met its, they gave us the money that they were supposed to give us at 50%. They had expended all the all that they were supposed to. But my revenue line is at 48.55%, and that basically comes from the difference between what the town provides. Currently it's about 92% of the budget, and what we get from the various funds, the 4 funds. So those are down a little bit. Hopefully things balance out and we start to make out. It's impossible to know.
Right.
It is absolutely impossible to know. I have more than doubled the expected donations line, although that was pretty modest. But I don't want to, I'm cautious about spending all my time chasing after 2% of the money. You know, I'd rather get out and weave myself deeper into the community, and since most of the money comes from taxpayers, thank the taxpayers and get their support and get on the ground and have them understand, like, hey, I really appreciate this. And that's the money. I do have more information for the next, if and when we talk about the next budget, the next budget cycle. I have more than you would ever want to know.
You got plenty, huh? Okay, since we can't see it on the screen, do you want to table it and do the vote next month when you have time to look it over and?
I can put it up on the bat if you want, on the
Screen.
on the wall.
Well, yeah.
No,
Okay.
no biggie.
Yeah.
And whatever you want to do is fine with me.
Okay.
Okay, we'll take a look at it that way if anybody has any.
So after the librarian's report, and I have some stuff I can go over for the librarian's report. This is one of those atomic clocks, so I just want to be very
Yeah, I
careful with
remember
it.
we approved them.
Yeah. We couldn't believe, we
'Cause
came in one day.
Peter Chase.
You just get that big long ladder and jumping up and down. We're like, can't you just
He
do
was
it
all excited
another
about
way?
it, remember?
Whenever they're off forever.
I know.
Yeah.
They don't,
You know,
that
until the
particular model
satellite
just doesn't reset. It just, we look at the clocks and we're like, I'm like, okay, replace the battery. Oh, no. All right, so, and also one more thing, I'm sorry, on the treasurer's report, I can pass this around if you like, but I've only received reports from YHB on the 3 sort of smaller funds. Wheeler was up 0.27%, Legacy was up almost 0.5%, and the library fund was up 0.02, almost 0.03%. Not very much, but a little bit.
Yeah, at least it wasn't down, I guess.
Sometimes I guess that's all we can hope for.
Yeah.
Okay, so the librarian's report, and I want to also send around some show and tell items. This is sort of what's going on in the library. There's a bunch of children's info. They do great brochures. This is like Healthy Plainville. I really want this and programs like this to take off because, I mean, not only is it good for the community, I don't wake up every day thinking I'm going to circulate 15 Steven Seagal movies today. I wake up thinking about the families that I see day after day, the folks that I help with digital literacy, the folks that I can tell. I helped some guy the other day with his unemployment thing. And it took me a while to realize what it was, but he was like, great, thank you so much. It was just this horrible cycle he was in with password resets. It was just terrible, and I was able to help him out. He was like, he was able to go, get on with his life. Those are the kind of people that I like to help. I mean, I have a weakness. I like to help people. So I don't generally think about the latest James Patterson. I think about what can help. So this Healthy Plainville sort of initiative is mind, body, spirit. It's anything that can help anybody in any way. But what it's doing is trying to position the library as in a slightly different context for the community. I can't really say that we're a quote-unquote community anchor. Really, it's the schools. The senior center has for a long time been a very strong community anchor for that segment of the community. In some ways I am a community anchor, in some ways I'm not. But if I ally myself with the other community anchors and weave myself deeper into the community and even act as a convener or a host or a program site, that's going to put me at the table and change the perception of the community from this is some place that just houses books to this is a place that helps people, and they have books too. So that's my overall goal. I'm impatient. I get discouraged when 10 people come to a program, and I've like pushed this thing out like with, you know, to 700,000 media outlets, or what I think is a great thing. But mighty oaks from small acorns grow, and I'm determined to make this thing work.
The report you have here, the director's report for February that talks about community anchors, has that been put out in the news anywhere?
Healthy Plainville has, but I don't know that people would be interested so much in like.
I think if you want to change, I just, from my point of view, that if you're looking to change the perception of what the library is.
Like
You
weave
do.
that into some sort of
Just
story.
weave that into a story, get it out there, or even give them this and say,
This looks
make it pretty, you know, type of thing. Yeah.
They often take my words
And twist them.
No, it's verbatim. They
Okay.
really like the general.
Oh, I'm sorry, that's not the big media, that's local.
Yeah, the local folks have so little time. You know,
I
they'll take almost anything
Oh, I know.
to
I know.
fill content. And most of the time, the space in their actual print articles is so limited.
I know.
It's a
I just think if
hard thing for
if,
them.
I mean, everyone thinks the library is exactly what you said. You know, it's the library.
Yes.
That's exactly what it is.
That's what it
But to change that perception, you need to tell people that you need to get that seed planted in their mind, that that's what you're trying to do.
Yep, the bug in the ear.
And let that grow. You'll get 2 or 3 people who walk in the front door and go, what do you mean?
Yeah, hopefully next time they'll bring a friend.
Right.
That's what I've been asking folks to do too. The board has it's sort of been an undercurrent, but I sense that the board is concerned with young adults and reading habits and putting good books in front of them. And one of the things that we talked about most recently was digital resources. I do have, this is a large list of databases that is available to the students through the schools. There's really not a lot in here for pleasure reading, it's more for research. In my talk, so I just wanted to share this, it is kind of grouped, and you'll find overlaps as well. Like you'll find general databases, World Book Encyclopedia, or it's also in periodical databases. I mean, it's not, they're not all unique to each thing. When I meet with the administrators and the media specialists, they tell me the kids aren't really, like, they're interested in reading, but what they see is the kid goes and picks up a physical book and goes to relax with it. They don't necessarily want to read on digital devices, and they don't necessarily want to read digital books. I also don't have we have regular collections, print and digital, that would assist the kids in curriculum support, doing homework. I'm not sure we don't have the resources to fully assist in curricular support. But I think the most responsible approach would be to sort of wait and see, keep talking to the kids in the groups that come here. We have a little reading club, usually for youngers. We have an anime club for that age group. We don't have a lot of kids coming in, but YA Circ here is up. So they're coming in, they're using the library. There's not a whole lot of them. But it's interesting to me that it's almost like a throwback. You know, many times it looks like they really just want to curl up a book. It's kind of funny.
Don't you think that that's started with the Harry Potter? I mean, we rode the wave with that. I mean, she wrote the book, and the kids couldn't have enough of it. And if there can come something along like that again, that would just grab the next generation. I mean, the kids, when they're in their 20s now, and they still talk about it on Facebook.
Oh, yeah.
You reach a point where you're no longer going to get that letter, though, from, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Rowling was the world's first billionaire author.
yeah. So, I mean, that's something
My son be the
hopefully to
second
keep an eye on.
It's okay with us, Jeff.
I'll name this library after him if he gives if he kicks it up.
We're into our second edit. You know he wrote a book, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the name of that?
It's about dragons. something, the Phoenix Flame, something, we're into our second edit at this point, trying to get it done.
Good for him. It's wonderful.
So
Sorry.
no. And the upshot that I kind of just wanted to share was I'm sort of waiting to see, instead of blowing a lot of money and maybe not hitting the mark, I'd rather blow a lot of money and really nail something. So I just want to be cautious. Supportive, but cautious. Leading edge, not necessarily bleeding edge. This is a little brochure. It's in its final draft. We're going to share this with the schools, hopefully through InfoSnap, which is the digital backpack, right? So there's one for everybody. And it's basically, we're thinking that it's going to be for elementary and lower, maybe, probably the 3 elementary schools. Basically, don't start school without your library card. But this would go out in the digital backpack, but also the schools provide a list of documents that need to be completed for a child to register for school, either new registrations or kindergartners. So this could be in that physical packet as well. Hey, by the way, and we're trying to see if we can, as the school moves towards completing forms digitally and submitting them digitally, can we get on there as well? So to sort of a little bit closely more integrated.
They used to be able to give the library card to when the students came to visit. The little kids, and they would get so excited about that.
I'm just wondering whether there would be any benefit to working with places like Great Beginnings and the other ones that are have the parents coming in to drop their kids off, and getting the parents, having them get something like this, so that their kids when they first go to that all-day kindergarten or whatever are now, at least under the idea of.
Right.
Do you no longer give the little cards to the kids?
We do.
Oh, because I noticed one, a child, anyone under the age of 17 must be accompanied by a doll.
Oh yeah, little kids can't, they need a form signed.
Yeah, but what if it's a 16-year-old person with a driver's license?
They're a minor.
Yep.
Wow.
So they can come back.
Can you come up with a different type of library card or something?
No.
See, my kids had it. Is that something that's changed or always been?
As far as I know, it's always been. It's just general
Standard
standard practice.
card.
Yeah, but did you ever sign it?
I don't remember.
You probably signed when they were little.
Yeah,
And then they just grew
I'm
up
just
in the
wondering
library.
if a person's 16, they're not going to bring their parents in. You're not going to. They're just not going to.
Yeah, we do the full court press when anybody's here for PFRN or the playground visits.
That's why you might as well hit them when they're younger.
Right. I had some point to address that. Of course, it's gone right out of my head. We do, generally, what we do see a lot of for the 16-year-olds, if they're a new, like a sort of a transfer, a new kid, new student, new patron, there are a lot of family visits. So, that might account for, say, a third of them, something like that. But we do require parental signature. And if they want to use the library, they're going to have somebody to sign for them, just to be the fiscal agent, the fiscal responsible fiscally. Having said that, we don't turn the students away. We'll hold these here at the desk for you. We'll allow you to print. We'll give you temporary passes so that you can get on your email.
That's what I meant, a temporary pass.
Yep, you can have almost anything except taking stuff out of the building. We're safely generous with that. Again, with the back to the librarian's board. I'm going to you don't have to take a vote or anything like that, but I would like your support. I'm going to go to the town for some more. I'm going to ask for more vacation time for Carrie and Erica because they don't really have. They didn't start with a lot. They're not accruing. They're accruing some, but it's just not a lot. I think they're both at 10 days. It's just not so much. And I'm going to ask for some.
What is they're supposed to get? Why aren't they getting what they deserve, whatever the contract says?
We're not contractual.
So
They're the
what are they
professional
earn?
staff.
I think they're both at 10 days. They both, I think
Yeah,
they
but what
started
do they
at-
do? Do you get 10 days, like January 1st you get 10 days, or how does it work?
You can't roll over more than X. If you roll over more than X, you have to
Okay.
ask for permission from the town manager, and of course, he's not gonna give it because it just doesn't make good business
So you're
sense
gonna
to do
ask for
that.
vacation day and not non-pay day?
And not,
Ask them, if they wanna take a week, just not pay them the week, you're gonna ask that you wanna pay them.
yeah,
Paid vacation.
Yeah.
paid vacation, a bit
That's
more paid
interesting.
vacation.
I don't know, I would wanna
My
know the
feelings
rules.
would be that we
Yeah.
have other professional staff working in town, find out what they get.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Does that
Yeah.
increase like after 5 years or after
Right.
10 years or something?
Because
That's
if
how
you're-
we worked
yeah,
it.
if you're
Yeah.
new
Yeah.
and that's
Then you
what
got 3
everybody
weeks
gets
and then you had-
townwide,
Right.
I don't think we should.
I don't think that's
Yeah.
like that. I think those
We'll
are
find out.
differentiated. I don't
Yeah.
know that I can, but
Yeah.
I'll try.
Well, it can't be that hard, it's a personnel thing, just call
Mhm.
Shirley. Do our
She's
people
out
get,
for,
oh, she's out for a while?
until, till further notice.
Okay, well, somebody can answer,
Mm.
somebody over there. I just don't like, I mean, as much
I
as
know,
I
making
do,
us-
as much as I can for the employees, I don't like to go off the reservation, so to
Yes,
speak.
set a
If every,
precedent, yeah.
if this is the way everybody's treated, that's the way our people will be treated.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I think
That's my personal
I think
thing.
you'll hear from
When you-
Mr. Lee, the same thing.
Yeah.
When you set out for duration, you were talking about Shirley?
Yes.
No.
AC, ACLB, you'll know what that stands for? This is why I'm bringing it up.
I know what it is, but I can't say what the letters are for.
Association of Connecticut Library Boards.
I knew it was
It's only $100 a
Connecticut
year.
Libraries.
I'm fine with this, to send this in and register you guys. I really want to urge you to go to some of these programs if they're of any interest in you at any time. They will broaden your horizons. Just to send that.
Cool.
I've been to a
Little bit.
couple and they were pretty good.
Yeah, I've been to a few.
Yeah, when I worked for the state library,
Yeah.
I went to a few as a
But definitely,
liaison,
you
and I
know.
was very impressed.
Yeah.
We should definitely be a member of that because they work on our
Mhm.
behalf.
Yes.
So,
So, just to go over some of the high points in past and upcoming programming
Mhm.
type bids from the January and February reports. In January, I provided some financial information about per capita Plainville residents. The taxes are $37.08 for a year for the library. It's low. The state average is almost $47. Farmington gets $91. Of course, that's Farmington, and I know that. We continue to be a very popular place for many one-off and consistent community groups to come hold their programs and hold their meetings. And again, I see that as important, and we are a service and a community anchor for the community. I'm not sure, it's kind of like Jay was alluding to. I don't know that everybody knows that. I don't know that the Girl Scouts who come in, they only are concerned with them. They don't see the bigger picture. I'm still very, reference and I'm still very concerned about digital literacy. That's most of what I do at the reference desk. Most of what we do is help me do this, help me do that. It's one-on-one to varying degrees. My my big fantastic 5-point plan for the summertime is to try to work it so that, have I told you about this?
I don't think
I
so.
don't think so.
Get some of the best and brightest honor roll type kids who need their community service hours and enlist them as at first volunteers and perhaps later as like minimum wage type one-on-one helpers and assisters. Right now we have 6 or 8 hours a month between Tim and Carrie doing one-on-one half-hour sessions with patrons. They're filled up pretty far in advance. So if I have more bodies to be able to, qualified bodies to be able to do that. This isn't just, yeah, Kate, go sit with this person and figure it out. I have the reason, and it's still in a planning phase. The kids will need to have some pretty highfalutin training in terms of patron policies, patron privacy, what you do and do not do and do not say, vetting, all that kind of stuff. So still in a sort of a beginner stage.
Beta.
But that's beta stage.
Beta.
But that's my hope.
That sounds like a good idea.
It's a great, the only thing I can see as being an issue there, when you're talking about whether it's community service or otherwise, and I know from Spencer's point of view, he gets out of school at 2:30, home at 3 o'clock, and
Summer.
he gets finished, summer, okay,
Yeah.
never mind.
If
I'm just thinking, he's
Yeah.
till 7 o'clock doing
Yeah,
homework every
it's-
night, It's
Yeah,
like,
no.
you know,
If I can,
Flat out.
then he
quote
just wants to
unquote,
sit there and just do this.
Yeah.
yeah, he's got to chill. If I can prove that it's worth it, people are getting stuff out of it,
Mhm.
it works for both
Oh, sure.
ends and me. Hopefully, I can prove to the town, I'll try to gather some sort of data and outcome-based evaluation and, information, so that the town says, yes, this is good, here's 5 hours a week or something like that.
Mhm.
We're not gonna be able to employ that many people,
Right.
but it has to work for the
Well, it's
student
got,
as
it's
well.
got to make, well, I guess the point would be, I mean, just selling it to the town is that if it means that, whether it be here, preferably here, obviously, if we're doing the training, if you will, but if it means giving them a place or an opportunity that they may be able to then look for a career
Right.
in the future.
Yep.
Now you're doing something for the kids.
Yeah, it's sort of.
They might do it in
Yeah.
Florida,
When I
but
was when I was at the state library, I helped implement a grant like this in West Hartford. It was crazy good. So, here's hoping,
Mhm.
but Plainville's not West Hartford. All I did was sign a piece of paper. Erica got a grant from the Community Foundation of Greater New Britain for dramatic play through puppetry. Dramatic play
Yes.
and puppetry.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
I mean, it's
The puppet shows.
I remember that.
it's it's easy to say, oh, puppet shows, puppetry, blah, blah, blah.
No,
But it's
kids
it's
love it.
more than
Didn't
it's much more.
we supported the,
Yeah, we bought the
Yes.
theater.
yeah, we bought the
I-
theater.
I think
and
it's when
everything.
Susan was the children's
Yes.
librarian, and the kids love it.
Yeah, it was,
Yeah.
They still love it. More stuff from.
it's still being used and everything. It's wonderful.
Yeah, it's shocking to me how frequently it is used and what it means for the kids. You think, oh, they're playing, but no, it's much more than just playing. Circulation this last month, January, we were only 49 circulations off of coming back up to flat circ. I was like, oh. Digital circulations were up 10%. We started Hoopla. If you don't know what it is, or you forgot what it was, or anything like that, let me know. I can fill you in. But it's very cool. That had 91 circulations, and we didn't advertise it. We put out a few bookmarks, and that was it. That's going to go crazy. A little pricey. It's worth it. So back to the children in preschool. 222 children in this town last month received a professionally led story time and got excited about reading a book. That's a good month.
Yeah.
It's good.
Technically, this would be next month's report, but there's a couple of spots on the roof where it's not spots on the interior where it's clear that there is water. It's not a cascade or a waterfall.
we have an issue.
We have an issue.
Right.
Apparently, this is just a building long issue. This is nothing new.
This is the same issue.
Yeah.
This is the same issue
Yeah.
in slightly probably
Different
different
month,
spots.
different year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Related to statistics and related to the state library, we're basically losing funding because of the delivery systems, the physical delivery system between towns. The more I circulate to other towns and to other residents in other towns, the more money I get. It's not very much money. It's like between 5 and 10 cents an item. When the service goes down, the money goes down. It's not a lot of money. It's like, I think the highest year that we had recently was $8,800. I mean, it's a good chunk of change, but it's not crazy.
What,
Deliver it. Used to be called CCAR. No, it's not Deliver it. It's ineffective. It's dying. The state library is not interested in continuing it. The last report from the state librarian said that CCAR was eliminated. He has not elaborated. I don't know if that means everything or just money or what. I'm losing the support of patrons who used to be able to get a little bit of a strange book or an esoteric book from another area library, and we can't anymore. I don't have the budget to just order everything. I wish that I did, but I can't get every single new title. So it's among the issues that is making my library, this library, making me lose money, lose support. I don't see any solution, and neither does anybody else.
Just, whenever something like that runs through my head, the first thing I think of is privatization. Is there anything in there, and how it's paid for or not paid for? I mean, was that all paid for by the state, the library?
It was, it's basically split between federal money and state money, so what they're going to do is take the federal money and use it for everything.
Okay.
And the state money will go away. If I was the state librarian, I mean, I'm not privy to anything like that, but if I was him, that's what I would do. It's just a headache, and he doesn't want anything to do with it, and he's not interested in helping libraries or helping direct patrons.
That's a good head librarian.
He has really alienated
What is he interested in?
retiring with a really good salary,
Yeah, he's been here for a while now.
probably about 20 years.
He's ready to say.
He's got his retirement set. Now he's just filling out the days.
If he was here, he would totally have you in the palm of his hand. He's a very good talker. There really is no money. The politicians are going to cut something.
Oh, no question.
So it's not really anybody's fault, per se, but it's an easy thing to cut.
Suffice it to say that if they're going to cut money from his budget, which they're going to cut money from everybody's budget,
Yeah.
that this is one of those things that he's not worried about scraping together
He goes like
pennies
this.
off the floor. Yep.
Good riddance.
See you, bye.
I think he went from something like 11 million to something like 8 million. His budget.
Yeah, it cuts the budget a bit.
Most of it is just pretend money, really. Not most of it. Some of it is pretend money, grants that are on the books but were never fulfilled.
Yeah.
I don't mean to, I'm more than a little critical, just because of my experience and what little I know. We've had some great programs, and we're coming up on some great programs too. I'm really happy about the children's efforts. March looks really good for the adult side as well. Lots of different kinds of programs. Not any one particular one is gangbusters huge. That takes care of the librarian's report. I believe. It's not my place to say, but I think we can talk old business.
Okay, yeah.
The chairs have been they've been ordered. It was 100 chairs for $5,740. I haven't received confirmation, but it's in the works. I mean, they probably just take time. I put in a purchase order and everything like that.
I have a question.
I have an
Remember
answer.
that thing? I'm sure you do. Remember that special bookcase that you wanted at the entrance? What has happened with that?
Well, the Friends voted to purchase one.
Tell them thank you for us.
Yes.
Yes, every little thing you do is a big deal.
It is true.
And that wasn't a little thing.
I held off. I said I didn't have one picked out.
Yeah.
So then I started doing research, and this one does this, and this one does that. So I've been hemming and hawing because, to my mind, I know you're going to laugh at me, but
Okay.
the difference between $1,500 and $2,000, I feel very deeply. So I sit there and I'm like, this one has this, and this one has that, and blah, blah, blah. By the time the next March meeting rolls around, I should have a recommendation like, I think this is the one we want. It's like this. And if it's a little more, then I have a little bit set aside from another thing it's donations that I should be able to kick in for. The other, yes. Oh, it's here. Hold it open. The other stuff that I roll around from time to time, remember a few months ago I went to Transfer Enterprises and I tried to see it's a huge warehouse, I tried to see what they have. They have stuff like this. This would be for something It would almost be for down here, for the eggs, the minerals, and the projectile points and other Native American artifacts. What I'm trying to do is balance between the items are jumbled up in a cardboard box.
Yeah, we can do
And-
better than that.
Yeah. I refuse to just, it's Plainville. I understand we're not going to spend thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on beautiful display cases that no one will see. I have also applied for a conservation assistance planning grant from, I have the information, it's a really long name. There it is, thank goodness. It's a grant-making institution that is using federal money. It's called the Collections Assessment for Preservation Program, or CAP. It uses money from IMLS, the Institute of Museum and Library Services, which is most of the federal library money, but it's also museum money. And the organization is called the Foundation of the American Institute for Conservation of Historic and Artistic Works. I have no idea, so we'll see. I believe really what it is they just try to match my need with a conservator who is nearby. So, you could say, oh, it's $6,000, it's $3,000. Basically what it is the person comes in, does the assessment, they pay that person. It's kind of a pass-through. I don't really make any money off of it. But this person would say, this stuff here, this is important. This stuff here, this is not important. This stuff over here, you can't have it jumbled up in a cardboard box. This is what you need to do. And I would say, thank you very much, because I just don't know the difference between a 12th century arrowhead and a 13th century arrowhead, and it's just so. I have some lights out, fantastic volunteers who can help me with this. I know I can enlist Peter Chase's aid on this, and there are certain staff members who say, I would help a little bit with that. We could kind of patchwork it all together, get the collections stable. And when I went to meet with the administrators and media specialists at the schools, they were very interested in these artifacts and these objects. Because so much, I think it's 4th grade, they do a whole Native American, there's a whole Native American emphasis. Yeah. And I want to say something in 7th grade was about science, and they're like, well, the eggs could work for that. So if kids could come here, or I could go there with the traveling thing, I don't know if they handle.
I would be very concerned about stuff, the older stuff or what that,
Yeah.
have it be traveling.
Yeah.
If you could find a room this size and put all those cases up around here and put them,
Right.
that works.
Right now they're stored in there. I mean,
Yeah.
they're stable. They're not.
Look,
In terms of they're not going
they don't need to. They shouldn't be there, but they're safe where they are.
Right. As opposed to a couple of months ago when they were in a not safe space. I know the basics about making them a little more secure and able to sort of live and breathe in certain conditions, but I don't want to go ahead with that until I get some more knowledge and information. So kind of stepping it along bit by bit. It's only, if I even spend 5% of my month on it, still kind of a good chunk of time.
I'll still get there.
That's the thing.
If you do nothing, you'll
Rome
never
was not
get
built in
there.
a day. Right.
All them snow days, you're here.
I'm here.
And there's nobody else in the building.
And this is not to say I'm going to get this, but
No.
But
this
they
is the
have
sort
nice
of thing that I would look for.
Right.
I would say,
Well,
like this one they had listed for $600, but now I know if I find something like this for $100, I'm like, bang! I pulled the trigger. Hopefully, yeah. All things considered, all things being equal. In terms of, again, I don't want to jump the gun, but I'm good on for the budget proposal. If you want to go through it, I can provide you.
Before we go into that, I just want to ask the board, since Sharon is in some type of role, I think she's the circulation desk person, is there something we should be doing as a board, sending her a card or anything? Because she's been out, how many months now?
Send her a pool boy.
November?
I don't know, I'm just asking.
It's a long-term absence. I don't
No.
remember doing anything before, but I'm not sure anybody's been out this long.
Well, I'm not sure, I'm not saying send even a card to us, an acknowledgement, I'm just wondering. And we're not sure when she's coming back.
Last I heard was late this month, but late. and starting back part-time and just sort of seeing how it goes.
Just kind of gently going.
Yeah. As much as I'm pulled in both directions. I know Sharon, I love Sharon. I also have a library to run. I'm like,
Yeah.
Would she,
It's like-
did she
Tough
sign
spot.
a family leave policy?
it's a personnel thing that I don't, I'm not privy to. There's all sorts of laws and
Well,
HIPAA
I
and
know, but
everything like that.
usually you have to after so
They
many.
do that over at Town
Yeah.
Hall.
Yep.
She probably got it in the mail or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
Give me
send
her
her.
name and address, I'll send her a card. Do you want me to bring the card in next month and everyone can
No,
sign
you
it?
just say from the,
Just
yeah,
send it?
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
So she'll be
That's all.
back by then.
That's what I was thinking. It's like, it's a very
Yeah, just get
thoughtful
her done.
thing, but, you know, why do it after she's back?
I know.
Yeah, I'll send her a get well
Thank
card.
you.
So we're doing pretty good. So what do you guys think about the treasurer's report? You wanna look at it on the wall and okay
Sure.
it, or, yeah?
The budget?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, when we were talking about
now-
the budget.
I need to extract a promise from you, because
Need it in blood, or do we need this?
if I'll try to move quickly, but with clarity. If I'm going too long on a particular thing or too short on a particular thing, if you want something different, I'm not really sure what you're used to getting or
What you want to see. I gave you summaries. I'll show you those first. And I do have some paper to hand out.
And so far, there's been no change to that summer?
No, well, it's not
Sort of.
official. It's not an official
Yeah.
change. So, sorry, I'll get this guy in here. There we go. So this, okay, there are two sheets. It's essentially the same except for one line.
Oh, all right.
I've got it on the screen.
You do?
Yes.
Nice.
I downloaded mine at home.
Look at
Okay,
you.
for 2 weeks,
It's the
Yeah,
first
these
time
are
in months
different.
I've had
Oh,
this
so
thing
this is the
updated.
revised one. All right. This is the original one, this says.
I even
3
remember
months.
my passwords.
Oh, yeah,
All right, so let's see. Wow, this is such a strange display. It doesn't-
okay. Maybe we won't be doing this.
Just a minute. This is the board meeting display. Oh, okay. So this, let's see if I can see. This includes the part-timer and children's. So this part-time line here, oops, what, scroll up, one more? Oh. This line, this cell, 126,049.
Yep.
Yeah.
Includes 14,100 for a part-timer in children's, so that they can continue to do the work that they do, but get out of the building to serve children in the community
Right.
with more programs that are geared for all of the point is to get books into the hands of children, help them to learn in a variety of ways, and make them ready to learn when they enter kindergarten, or enhance their ability to learn if they're already in school,
So this is an additional.
to assist.
An
It was an additional $14,000. I went to the town manager. I gave it my best shot. What I did to do this, to make this entire budget down below, you will see, it is only a 3% rise,
Okay.
including that entire.
Yeah.
Here it says
$14,000.
2.9, but that's,
Yes,
just,
right.
I guess my question, I was gonna have you jump ahead. I wanted to make sure that if the overall of the budget from last year to the one you're presenting this year, you're talking roughly a 3% increase in cost.
Now, the one last year, we went down 1.61%. So this 3% is not really 3%.
It's 1.5, roughly.
I guess, yeah, that's a
Yeah.
better way to look at it, actually. So, but basically, it's 22 grand. That's what this cell here says, 22 grand.
Okay.
Chopping out that 14 grand, or, to carve out so that that 14 grand wouldn't look so much.
Mm-hmm.
I cut things so close to the bone that even I was squirming. So I'm on things like, I went back 10 years on the
Well, you're down
natural
12,000.
gas.
You're down 12,000 on books.
Yeah, that's kind
Well-
of a lot, isn't it?
Bear with me, I'll
yeah.
explain. So, I went down, I looked hard at everything. I went down on everything that I possibly could. Just for example, the natural gas. You know, usually we leave a cushion. So
Mhm.
I cut the cushion. You know, everything that I could, I cut to the bone. Some things did go up, like professional development went up like, whatever, $200 or something. Something silly. My total utility bill, I'm predicting a $50 rise. The only thing that I went up on was electricity because that bill is huge. It's a beautiful building built like a cross, and it sucks up every kilowatt of power in this town.
Do you even have light bulbs? You know those library lamps that are so beautiful to look at? Do they even have bulbs
Yeah.
in them? They do?
Yeah.
At one time, we took them out because people were turning them off.
Well, there's a good library. Clickety, clickety, click. Nobody really likes them. You know, they look
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, they're not very popular.
They're not very
huh?
popular and they're not incredibly useful, especially the ones on the
Oh.
circulation desk. It's at a height where it really, like if this is the shade, the bulb is here, and it really provides a lot of glare. It's really strange.
Oh.
Not for this meeting, but someday I'm going to propose to you that we kill Fort Cirque. When you look at it, it's a fort. Fort. And this fort. There's all sorts of barricades and barriers. And,
Take shit off the counter.
well, there's that, but you know, there's different heights, and it's a structure. It's an imposing structure. People come up to worship at the altar of the library. I mean, come on, it should be a thin table. Hey, how are you? I want to interact with you. So back to the budget. So this budget is the plus 3% one, the one that I gave you in the report.
Yep.
Is, yeah, we're as close to this final as I possibly could. So
So the mileage increased by 25%, is that because the person is gonna get outside more?
yeah, I mean, I think we're probably going to go over that this year anyway. Just going to meetings and
Or just,
conducting the business of the library.
It's up a whole $125.
Right.
I know it's not much money,
Right.
but percentage-wise, that's one of the bigger ones, and that's what pops out. So he's gonna be asked, why does,
Mhm.
you know,
Yeah. We did have that preliminary meeting and he asked all the questions. You know, he talked about professional development in my CRO.
yeah,
You know, he
looks at the
recognizes,
percentages.
he said, I realize it's only $130 or whatever it is, but what's up with this? So I explained what I could. So the second sheet of paper that you have, display, January 20. This is the revision with no part-timers. So that 126,000 goes to 111.8. And the overall rise for the entire library is only 1%, or $7,600.
If you don't get the part-time approved.
Well, so I met with Robert a second time. It was a brief meeting. I said, what do you think? He goes, I'm not comfortable giving this to I'm not in favor of giving this to the town council at this time. He did make it clear that it was not at this time. I get it. He's fiscally conservative. I like it. It helps the town. I'm a small player. It's easy to cut small things. My hands are really limited on this. I don't have another I don't have another staff member that I can realistically task down there. They weren't hired for it. They're not cut out for it. I love them all dearly, but to put someone at a children's desk is a very deliberate thing, and it needs a particular personality and a particular skill set. Even I struggle in Erica's eyes because I just don't know the reference. That a lot of it is reader's advisory, and I just don't know some of that stuff. So that's what's going to happen. It's going to be me down there. I'm going to be doing the best I can do. But Erica needs to get out, and her staff need time to do the programs and not take the work home with them and come in on a Sunday and not be paid. And just eventually, they're gonna get. They're beautiful people, but they're gonna burn out. I don't think they're gonna get resentful because that's the kind of people they are. But they're just gonna stop. You know, I don't want that.
So what did he say when you said that? Is that what you said to Bob Lee? Bob,
Yeah, essentially.
and what did he say back to you?
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
figured.
Yeah, he's not gonna put much out there. I mean, the
No
one,
offense,
of
but
what
yeah.
You're
of
just
what I
defending,
know of,
yeah.
Yeah.
well, of what I
Yeah.
know of Bob Lee and when he came in the last 2-3 years that Peter was here, and he did the budget, we got beat up on having the larger percentage of dollars in our over funds and, in our budget and places like that they made us cut to the bone and cut back.
Well, he did mention the reserve balance.
Right.
And
The thing is, though,
But they've
it's
cut
nice to
that
say
before.
that your employee's gonna burn out, but most budget people, they don't care. They said there's always an
Right.
employee that wants a job.
Yeah.
What you can do
Yeah.
is show them
Right.
the results, what you
Right.
expect to do and how we're gonna
Yeah,
profit
yep,
from it. I'm
yep.
being honest
Right.
with you.
Yeah,
No,
I had some-
I don't know where our reserve balance is at this point, what the percentage of it is, but, I mean, they cut that to the bone on us once, made us bring it down to within the percentages that everyone else in the world lives by,
Right. It's only
and-
reasonable.
That's fine, but my point was that of what I know of Bob Lee and what I've had the interactions with him, once they did that, the next year when we had to go in for budget,
Yeah,
it
it's
was
impressive.
easy, it was really pretty easy.
Yeah.
Because
When they
we
saw what
weren't
we were
going
doing.
give, and oh, by the way.
Yeah.
By the way, we have 200,000 sitting
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
No, they started like coming over quicker when we called.
Yeah.
Because they had less of the attitude of
Mhm.
hire someone.
Yeah,
We also started asking for them. We don't have the funds to hire. Come do
Right.
it yourself.
I did have a lot of information and data that I shared with them about the plan, what we'd like to do. We do see that spike in the summertime. It's actually right prior to summer, so it doesn't fall right on July 1st. And the goal, obviously, is to retain that high level, not to have a spike, but to
Yeah.
create a new plateau and to create the situation where kids enter school ready to learn. What are we, 125th-ish angelic ranking, and yet in the school rankings we're about 65 in the state. It's pretty good, really, The schools don't do it all. They can't do it without us. Things are good. I do get it. It's cursed. I'm cursed to see both sides. Maybe someday.
I really forgot about this, but when Peter retired and you were hired, there was some payoff that had to go to Peter, but then wasn't there some savings? Because
Yeah.
obviously you weren't
This
making
year.
Peter's salary.
this year.
Well,
Yeah,
that's
this
what I'm
year.
saying, and
Right.
maybe that could help you within your,
That's reflected in here.
Yeah, we
They
already.
expect that.
Yeah.
Oh, and the
Yeah, we got them.
director of finance, Rob Buden, is very supportive and really encourages me to
Mhm.
ask for what I need. So that's what I did.
Ask
I know
for
it.
That's
Like you
the
said,
answer.
Robert, I know
What's-
it's going to be a tough year.
what's-
They're
what's
talking
what's the
about
worst
$80
that's
million
gonna-
or
That's right.
something.
Well, they haven't even figured out how
So-
much they're cutting from the towns, so.
Yeah, they're in a hard place. They know the cut's coming. They don't know
Oh,
how bad
absolutely.
it's gonna be
Yeah,
or
no,
what's
I
gonna be
saw that.
required for them,
So,
so.
So that's the big sort of picture, and most of it revolves around that.
Okay, did we ask for anything new this year? I
Uh,
don't think so.
Nothing, well, I mean, I can take you through line by line. It'll bore you to tears.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, we're not adding anything.
Great big percentages.
No, some of this stuff just changes. I mean, just for example, here we are in the machinery and equipment line.
Right.
In the past, we had, this was like a very generic repairs as needed to equipment, and not to, how can I say this in a way that's politically unsuicidal. In the history of the library, none of the fleet of 31 computers has needed repair. And you can tell because the monitors upstairs are from 1989. So those small amounts would get added to the fund balance. Which is when one doesn't spend money, one has money. I'm as Yankee driven as anybody, but it's time to retire much of that equipment before it
Right.
burns
Yeah.
and hurts somebody.
Yeah.
Anyway, and one of the things is 2 replacement book drop bins. He didn't bat them, nobody bats an eye. They're huge bins that would go in our book drop. I don't know if you remember when Peter retired, he had a little anecdote about when I got here, we had a clothes basket
Oh,
in
yeah,
front
I
of the door.
remember that.
That's essentially what these are clothes
Yeah.
baskets. They're depressible book carts. The depression never worked. It says they never functioned properly. So it's just a big metal bin. And I have pictures. When the books go into them, they're like if the pages are open just a little bit, the next book slides in like this, and just stuff is destroyed, and everything gets wet, and they're not big enough, and blah blah blah. So those sorts of changes are all that I addressed in here, and I also put like things with like things. Just for example, I'll get to the books as well, but just for example, in one of these lines, which one was it? I will never remember. There were databases in there, money for databases that were never purchased. I swear to God, it was in building and ground maintenance or something like that. It was such a strange category. So I put them all in one pile, one basket, you know, pairing things with like things. The book budget, because we're going to be having a digital emphasis, what I did was I increased the whole thing by 2%. Chopped out what we're going to need for digital.
And where does it reflect, the digital?
It would be non-print media.
That's
Okay,
that's the
so
question.
that
That's
goes
the
up
one.
to
That's the
119.
that's the 110%. This
Yeah.
line, the 52,362.
And it's still
Yeah.
not enough.
Okay.
But
Well, I mean, the number, like she said, the big number jumping really 110%. Holy
And
cow!
you say it's not enough, so what would you want if you could do that? Because I
In the
would love
imperial
to see us go
world.
more and more that way.
I'd have to do a little more
Well, let me follow that with this question,
research because I wouldn't want to say, oh,
which we'll add
Yeah,
into
it's easy.
that. Well, like I say, the difference that the only caveat I would throw in there would be a question of, you know, if you in an imperial world, hypothetically, if you had $50,000 on that line, would you want to spend that all in 1 year, or would you be looking more at the fact that digital seems to change quicker and quicker all the time? Do you not want to have that available to you just in different years?
yeah. See this hoopla streaming content? A
Yep.
year ago, that was not a thing. I couldn't have bought it if I wanted to. I'm sure next year there will be another thing.
Oh,
Overdrive,
okay.
and it's not like Overdrive's on its way out.
No,
It's still great.
no.
But all these titles are overpriced, you know.
Well,
So, Carrie,
working with teenagers and
Yeah.
you know, and living with one, you know, I know that the stuff that he tried to get me to buy him last Christmas is now. So he walked up to me and said the new Wii U, which we
Yes.
spent $300 for him to have because it was that everybody had. Oh, Dad, all the new games are coming out on this, and none of it's going to work on any.
right, they're not backwards compatible because they know they have
That's
you.
why we all have graveyards in our attic with old Atari machines.
No, I gave them away. I gave the old Wii systems to the high school. I got still with the Wii U, but that's you know, everything else went to the high school.
It is, I mean, the day you buy it, it's already obsolete.
Yeah.
It's very
Well,
discouraging
it-
sometimes.
It wasn't the equipment that obviously is that they're no longer making games for it. They're making all the games to go to some other
Well, it's
platform.
like CDs, they're going
Yeah.
obsolete already.
They are. That's
Yeah.
one thing that we chopped down. It was a little over $1,000. We're going to go. I'm sorry. We're going to go down to $250. We do get a lot of excuse me donations of those, so we
Which
will
is
use
nice.
those.
Yeah.
And they're not completely dead. I mean, we'll get some use out of them,
People
but we
come
really
out
want
the
to start.
book sale and they're
Yeah.
still looking for
Mhm.
you know,
Well, people
tapes
still
for
want-
the VCR.
Yeah,
I still got
Yeah.
I still got boxes of LPs in my basement. I'm waiting for the
I
price
do
to
too.
go
I
a
do
little
too.
higher.
Well,
I
have
price
mine
goes just a
too.
little bit
I do
higher.
too.
I have them too.
The
Do you?
papers
I know
go
that.
They
by.
want them now.
I got all my
Well,
LPs. Yeah.
You know,
When I do foreclosures, they're finding them in the foreclosures. I flip through them to find the ones because I know pretty much what everyone
Yeah.
wants.
Yeah.
I just take home the ones I need.
Yeah.
you know what? I'm always trying to angle for money, but the Middletown radio station, college station,
Yep.
Wesley, ESU,
Yep.
WESU. Twice a year they have, I haven't been yet, but they have a huge vinyl sale.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we could have a vinyl sale. Maybe, you know, it's not just a tag sale. I mean, people come from all over, collectors and
Mhm.
serious people come.
Mhm.
I have
Yeah.
like a bunch of card that I could sell for 25 cents a pop or whatever, but
Mhm.
oh, make it away. Hey, we'll make another $600.
But you
of the
get
vi-
people to come in who maybe
Yeah.
haven't seen the
Mhm.
place before.
most of the
You know.
Bible home will sell on eBay for $5 a piece, so
Mm.
it's a, you know,
Yeah,
I
the
I
ones
keep
that
all
go
the
up.
good stuff.
So, I mean, I could take you through every line and tell you about every little cost. This has been a year-long thing. It has not, it's been me and Karen and Erica and assorted guest stars really putting our heads together and saying, well, what if we did this? What would this look like if we did this? What if we took this, put it here, we took this other thing, put it in this other place? What would that look like? So lots of trial and error, but lots of reconfiguring in a way that would still be palatable for across the street. So we're moving forward cautiously, but we are moving forward. Nobody knows anything, until the town council votes, and even then, the situation
Yeah.
changes.
Yeah.
Well,
So-
I think on an overall basis, if it's only 3%, in a year
It'll be
would cost.
1%.
Yeah, it's obviously not, well, no,
It might-
we're gonna hold on to that extra person, it'll be.
Right,
It'll
no,
be-
no, but I'm saying, if it's only 3%, it's not a terrible increase in a year where everything's gone up, and you've done, a number of, done yeoman's work in trying to cut everything. It keeps moving on me here, out of here. The only question I would have for you, and since it's already been, temporarily presented to them anyway, it doesn't really matter, but, if you got this budget, this worked, and they approved this budget, it seems you've cut and slashed your way through and cut all the extra spaces out of a lot of it. Is there monies that you can still move around in there if you had to?
Some, not very much. It's much, much tighter. Most of my, I don't know, what do you want to call it?
Slush fund?
It's
It's not
330
fund
operating
balance.
supplies. That's like, I can use that for a variety of things.
Yeah.
It's basically stuff we need.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like it's bare bones, so I think if worse comes to worse, we're gonna hit the fund balance this next year.
Now,
Yeah.
That's what I worry about,
No.
it's almost too big for us.
Well-
That said, I'd love them to be able to put this up and have all the other departments in town put together the same type of a spreadsheet, see how much they've cut out of their given
It's,
budgets.
we are, I did budget for 2% on, he recommended 2% on all personnel
Yeah.
to go up.
mhm.
So even with that, I'm still at 1%. I've cut my budget. Some things are just not, with the other departments in town, they're just contractually obligated to do stuff.
Yeah.
You can't
Yeah.
get that, I understand that. And I will, as much as I rail against it, I will never stack up against police and fire.
Oh,
I will never do
that's
it.
not gonna happen.
No,
I would love to.
And-
In this
But
area,
if I orient myself as a community anchor that partners very closely with community, with police and fire, we're all together. I think for many years the library has been an island. I think now we're maybe a tiny bit more of an archipelago, but I want to be under the umbrella. I want this place to be the town to say, yes, we like that library. Yes, the cranky people who come to the town council meetings and crank off,
they like
they go
us
to the
too.
library.
no, they like
And they
us
like
too.
it.
You
They
mean
like
Frank
us.
and Janice?
I didn't say any words. I didn't say any names at all.
But
I
they like
did.
us too.
I know who they are.
We know who they are.
Criticism and, I mean, I've been here a long time.
Yeah.
It used to be as like, if you wanted a nickel, you had to justify it in 14 pages. People like it.
Yeah.
We have the new building, they feel welcome here.
Mhm.
They get what they need
Well,
out
they
of
see us
us.
as a jewel,
Yeah,
the community,
I mean, even just the way we look, people like it.
yeah.
So,
Yeah, first-time visitors really enjoy the way the place looks. I
I
often tell
mean,
them.
I know that we're here to provide a service, but I think making people feel comfortable and welcome
Oh, absolutely.
is the first
Oh,
step
yeah.
of providing that service.
Yeah, all my colleagues, when they come here for meetings, are like, oh, I like this stuff. I'm like, let me show you this water stain. Let me show you this.
Wow.
What's this situation here?
May have trouble after Wednesday too, but who's talking? Rain is coming.
Yeah, I'm just hoping.
Yeah,
It's
the
just
water
not
thing's been going on forever. I'd like to see that taken care of.
I don't know
right.
if we will.
I just don't, I don't know.
I don't see it, but I'd like to
I can't
it.
see, when I saw when I heard about things and saw a little bit of the evidence, I can't believe we lost the binding arbitration. I can't
But we
believe
did.
that. I
But
know.
we did. It's like, and once it's done, it's done.
That's a head scratcher.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow.
What's that one on?
Yeah.
On what then? Binding
The-
arbitration on what? I'm
The
sorry.
roof.
On the
Oh,
building, the
oh,
roof,
oh,
that was
yeah.
It really
part of
doesn't
the
have
punch
anything to do
list,
with-
yeah.
and they just
All
said,
right, sorry.
It was really the wrong, I mean, I guess it was the wrong issue. It was a contractual thing and not really a work,
Mhm.
quality work thing.
It felt like it was, and they said it was, but you're right, they might have went after the wrong reasons.
Mm.
So that's all we heard for,
Yeah.
and I
yeah.
think I first was
But I
on the
mean, we
board,
got
went,
legal advice on to what to
That's what I'm
do,
gonna
so it's
say.
not like, you know, we were inexperienced and we made the wrong
and we had
choices.
good people on the board.
Yeah, so it was turned over.
I meant the planning board of it.
This looks good. All we can do is hope it comes out the way we
Mhm.
want.
Yeah, it
With
is
the
true.
extra person.
I'll tell you, there is very little wiggle room with certain things. Certain things,
Yeah.
if the sky falls in, I'm like, I don't know what to do.
But you
The-
know what, if the sky falls in, you wouldn't have known what to do with
Yeah.
a bigger budget either, so.
Now, fund
I mean,
balance question, there is no way to really know what it is at any given time because it's a
Right.
moving target.
Well,
It's down,
Yeah.
it's down.
right.
Yeah.
Well, I guess you said he brought that up as
He's
a
gonna
thing.
ask you what it is.
He's gonna ask you what that, you know, and
Nobody
no,
knows.
no, and.
Not even Rasputin knows.
Right. Well, it's just knowing, I mean, obviously, we
Didn't
have.
he based it on, didn't he base it on, we should always have a
It's like
certain
5%.
percentage?
Yes,
Like
5% of our
5%.
budget.
And
So
we-
we should know it to make sure we have that
Well,
5%.
I'm confident in saying we do have between 5 and 10% somewhere.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I guess.
10 years ago, it was at 25%.
We
Right.
were happy
And
with
of
it.
course, that they, you know, the town would be like,
Yeah,
what's
what are
going
you
on?
holding, right, why are you
Yeah,
holding
and
on to those
Well, we
money?
kept it a
Because
secret.
Because the argument was is that our
Let's
money
be
or the
honest.
town's money.
We just didn't.
It's the town's
Yes,
money, it's
it
the
is.
taxpayers' money. and
That's not true.
It was in there.
I
The
I
friends
get
will
both
be our
sides.
secret.
I understand that.
Yeah. Now, if our funds have a great year, or if I raise $1 bajillion, maybe we can afford something a little different. Well, if I do raise $1 bajillion, then it goes into donations, and I don't take it out as gifts. It stays in the fund balance.
Mhm.
So it's both a good, you know, it's good to know that.
Mm.
Oh, I raised $5,000 this year, but in the big picture, it's a drop in the bucket. Use it
Right.
quick.
Yeah, not only
Mm.
that, they'll ask you to
Yeah.
spend that $5,000 on electricity, so,
Mm.
you know.
Yes.
I think that's why a lot of people donate for specific causes.
Yes.
They don't want to pay your electric
Right,
bill, they
no,
want to
that's
provide a
right.
program
That's
or a
Well,
service.
It's just like the church, if we get
Yes.
a memorial, the memorial is given for,
Yes,
Yes.
exactly.
For
yeah.
the garden.
well,
for
it's
the-
given, yeah,
bills,
it's,
for
I
the
mean,
bells,
whatever.
we've gone shopping for a new heating system at one time in the recent past. We need money. Make it a memorial towards the heating system, so the church stays warm in January. Okay, good. It goes over there, so we have money there for when the heating system blows up, we can call ILO and send them over.
I noticed that you've got, and maybe you've said it before, you have a mascot now for the children's?
Yeah, read a book.
Now,
Read a book.
Rita, R-I-T-A,
Read a book.
Rita. Is that gonna, how are you gonna support that?
It's like a design, you know what I mean?
You
There's
don't
not
have
much.
to worry about money or extra
No,
stuff or anything
no.
like that?
Like, you know that Healthy Plainville thing?
Yeah.
I spent $70 for my money on a logo.
Okay.
That's it.
I thought
We
it was
just buy
cute,
stuff,
I like the
yeah.
idea.
Yeah.
The kids freaking love it.
Yeah, that's
When we
what I-
get
Yeah.
around to the dancing animal called Rita book,
Well, yeah, I can see, I
I
can
was
see
gonna
one
say,
of them
who's
saying
gonna
they're
dress
willing
up?
to dress up.
Tim.
Tim likes to
that,
dress
I'm gonna
up.
say that'll
Tim is
cost you.
for all that stuff, he throws
Oh, yeah,
himself
he'll do
into
all of
it.
Tim has put his house on the market.
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm grieving, but I'm also trying to plan. The last thing on the budget, I believe this budget increases the percentage that the town would provide. They are currently, I could be getting these percentages wrong because I'm trying to find the number and I'm afraid to say it, but I think currently they provide roughly 92%. This budget would make them more like 96 to 97%.
Wonderful.
In my opinion, that's where it should be. The good news is this might set a precedent.
Yeah.
The good news, the flip side is like
Truthfully.
they're not going to be held to anything like that.
We're from this town, and
Yes,
any time that they
yes.
volunteer extra money, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's a good thing, yeah.
I just don't know what's gonna happen, we'll just have to wait and
Neither
see.
do they
Yeah.
across the street.
I
I mean,
know.
I'm sure in their mind, this is, you know, we hope this is doable.
And who
you know.
knows what, the budget's gonna be.
I give them a lot of credit. They do a lot with not very many people.
Mm.
No.
I wish I had those percentages right in front of me, but I'm sure they're in another report someplace. We were almost there on circ. Everybody go check something out.
I did before I came down.
49 circulations. I added them all up. I was waiting for one digital
We got our-
photo. Oh.
Well, you've been busy. I think we covered everything in the agenda, right?
Questions, concerns, I'm available
Anybody have anything?
at all times, all the time.
Want to move that we adjourn?
Yes.
Okay. Julia, a second? A second
Oh,
to
second.
adjourn?
Oh, I'm
All
sorry.
in favor?
Aye.